All right, so today we're going to be doing the arch Clapton wire. The arch Clapton is a concept that came from Blue Eyed Goon 83. We're going to link him down below in the description, and you guys could, if you got a free second, check out his page. He's got some pretty cool creative builds on his Instagram. So first and foremost, since the other giveaway we did on the alien wire tutorial turned out pretty darn good and we had a lot of people enter it, I asked Local Vape if we could do another one for this tutorial, so they said yes. Local Vape, pretty fucking dope. And so they donated some more stuff. Today we're gonna run it kind of the same way that we did the last one. So it's gonna be 3 weeks long, and you're gonna have to subscribe to the channel and comment down below. Maybe comment about something about upcoming tutorial you'd like to see instead of just a general comment. Maybe if there's something you're struggling with that you think that we should touch further on during these tutorials, then put that down in the comments, and that's going to be how you enter the contest. So once again, 3 winners, right? 3 winners are each going to win what you see here before me today, with the exception of I have all 3 of the mods laid out here. So you're going to get the Anarchist V2 Zombie Splatter. You're going to get the Anarchist Competition Cap, and that's sitting on that Tugboat V2. And then as well, you're going to also get the white Tugboat Cap. With that, you're going to win a full line of the Anarchist wire and cotton, and you're going to win an Anarchist shirt. And then for the dope part of the giveaway, you're going to win a full line and 30 mils of Atom Bomb, the collection, and Malicious liquids. So huge shout out to those 3 companies, Atom Bomb, Malicious, and the collection, for donating a shit ton of juice. Like, seriously, you win this contest and you're gonna have juice for like a month, like maybe 2 months. If you vape like me, then it's probably more like a week, but you know, you'll make do. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the tutorial. For the build, we'll be using a DeWalt drill. We'll be using a pair of needle nose pliers, the nylon tipped pliers, set of cutters, a couple bits to wrap up the coils, and then a jeweler's block, a jeweler's hammer. You can get away with a regular hammer and anvil. You're just gonna have to be a little more gentle when you go to flatten the wire. We're gonna do this on Twisted Messes RDA because Twisted Messes RDA is freaking dope. I'll be using the Vapor Cube ohm reader. And then for the most important part is the wire and gauges. We're gonna be doing this with 26 gauge Anarchist wire. You're gonna need a small piece of 18 gauge wire or something that's pretty close to the equivalent in diameter. And you're gonna need 30 gauge. I'm using regular Kanthal. I like to use Kanthal for the outer wire just because nichrome's softer. So you'll see when we go to flatten this, if you're using nichrome, it tends to break easier. So I'd run with Kanthal. And then the Anarchist cotton to wick it up. The first step to this process is going to be taking that 18 gauge, which is about 4 inches long, and installing that into the drill. And then we're going to need about, I'd say about 18 inches of 30 gauge. I'll pull off a little extra just in case. And a little tip for this is when you do this first part, I would suggest that you make a couple extra of these Claptons like we're about to do right now, just to have on the side in case you later on in the process you mess it up flattening the wire or something happens. Like, you have it right there. It doesn't hurt to have a few extra. So I'm just gonna slide that right in the gap there. It doesn't matter if you go clockwise, counterclockwise, and just start to Clapton this wire out. Easy breezy. That's it. That's all I'm gonna do. And the reason behind that is, in the next step, when I go to flatten the wire, I noticed that if I do too long of a piece, then it's really hard to get the cores in there, and then it starts to twist, and then you'll see as I start to flatten it, as if it twists, then it's just more likely to get messed up. So for this here, just do smaller sections. So we're gonna decore the Clapton, just like that. And that's part of the reason why with this drill I like to just slide the wire in there, because when I go to decore it, it's a one-step process, that's it. I made 4 of these decored Claptons just in case I make a mistake on the next step. And so now while I still have my drill out, I'm gonna take some of that 26 gauge anarchist wire, and I'm going to, I need about 5 inches, so I'll say about 18 inches I'm gonna straighten up on the drill real quick. And that way I got this wire ready and I can put away the drill and I don't need to use it. So yeah, that's about close there. Hopefully by now you're extremely familiar with how to straighten wire. It's a really easy, simple process. Just put it in the drill, grab the other end, and then it doesn't matter clockwise, counterclockwise. For about 5 seconds. And some guys on Instagram actually taught me a really cool trick. They saw the last video about how the wire recoiled. And so if you just take your cutters and you cut it, it takes out all the recoil in the wire. So big shout out to you guys. I forget who it was. I feel like a jerk. For whoever that was that helped me out with that pointer, it's worked perfect. So, I said about 3 5-inch pieces. Gonna cut them just a little bit longer. I'm gonna leave about 1 inch on each side of that decored Clapton. And that way you got the wire ready for the next step. So, the secret part to the build. You gotta fan these decored Claptons out. And what I mean by fanning is you gotta take a pair of needle nose pliers. I use the ones that are offset like this, that got that little 45 in them. And you gotta kinda add an angle here. And actually I'm more comfortable with doing it with the offset inwards towards me. You gotta take this Clapton here and you gotta install it at an angle, and you're just gonna lightly squeeze it and start to get those wires to lay over on their side. And this is called the fanning process. And what you're doing is you're just barely pinching the wire enough to lean it over. So when you do the flattening process, it's already lean and it's not gonna look like a flattened Clapton, it's gonna have that arch in it. What I found out here, make it a little easier on you, is when you fan it out, don't fan it all the way to the end. That way when you go to install the cores like this, it's a way easier process. Be patient here when you install these cores. Try to keep them as parallel as possible, and then just kind of finesse them into there. So I was able to get those 3/4 wires through there. It's a little bit of a struggle to get them through. You want to try to keep them as parallel as possible as you're sliding them through. You'll notice if you have a really hard time getting 3/26 gauges through there, it's probably because you fanned a little too hard. You squeezed a little too hard on it. So once I have those totally through there, what I want to do is I want to reassure before I flatten it that the wires are laying in there parallel. So I'll take a set of my nylon tip pliers, and I'll just start from one side where I know the wires are parallel, and I'll just give it a little squeeze. And I'm going to work myself from one side all the way down to the other end. And then what this is doing is just making sure that the wires are laying in there, all 3 parallel side by side. So when I go to flatten it, there's no wire that comes up and over and ruins the whole thing. All right, So now you're ready to flatten it. Just get out your jeweler's block or anvil. This is actually Twisted Mess's jeweler's block. While I was in New York, in Niagara, Buffalo, he actually was nice enough to give it to me. So shout out to Twisted Messes. I've been putting in some serious work with it, bro. So I'm just gonna lay that on there. I'm gonna make sure the alien portion is laying flat. My cores are laying flat. You really want to be sure that they're laying in there flat. So I'll give it another squeeze over here. That way I know that's flat. And then what I'll do is I'll start on one side and gently flatten it, working my way to the other side. So even if there's a slight twist in the wires and the cores, it'll start to work itself out. So I'm going to wrap this on what is a 7/64th bit, and I'm going to shoot for 4 wraps. And I'm gonna go 1 extra here because that first wrap, I didn't like the way it looked. I'm gonna do 1 extra, then I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna remove that wrap. And I'm gonna have that lead coming straight down, this one coming straight out. So they're at a 90-degree angle. And then I'll just come in here with these and holding pressure on the coil up here up top. That way when I bend it, it doesn't, you know, put a gap in there or loosen this first coil up. Just bend that. So that way both leads are coming off nice and straight. And I'll just trim off the excess. Okay. Installing the coils like you typically would. Get them up nice and tight to that deck. Well, that's it. That's the Arch Clapton, huh? The mystery has been revealed for everybody out there. So The dual coils on this came out to 0.08 on the nose. Let's go ahead and try a little vapor production. Yeah, that's pretty goddamn good if you ask me. It's similar to the Alien wire. The only difference is it's a tad cooler than what you're gonna get with the 30 gauge Clapton wire around the outside of those 326 gauges. It takes an extra second or two to heat up, so it's not that throaty, it's not that harsh, and you still get really good flavor off of it. Grab your vape, let's have a vape together, huh? Let's do this. Hell yeah, hashtag cloud porn. Shout out to Blake Vapes, one of the funniest guys out there on Instagram. If you're not following his page, go check him out. He's a comedian, so you don't have to take what he's saying seriously. Really funny dude. But you know, that's it. We got more tutorials coming up really soon here. We got the Boneyard coil, and then we got a coil 101 for all the beginners out there. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you want to enter the contest, then comment down below. And until next time, vape on.